All right, first video. Let's hope I'm recording this right. So this video is going to be just a sort of overview of the class. We'll talk about the syllabus, talk about how the course is going to run, talk about discussion section. So this would be your traditional syllabus day lecture, I guess. So we'll hop right in. So this is for Political Science 1113, American Federal Government. If you're listening to the wrong video here, stop now and do something else. Okay, so everything you need to know for this course starts on Canvas. So there'll be a Canvas page, it'll be published. If you have questions about the course, that's where you start. And so today we're going to go through some of the Canvas page and some other things that are important for this course. Okay, so who am I? My name's Michael Crespin. I'm a professor of political science. I'm the director of the Carl Albert Center here on campus. So the Carl Albert Congressional Research and Study Center. We run a lot of programs for students interested in civic engagements. We're running any voter registration drives or teaching folks how to vote on campus. We have internships. These are internship classes. Some of these are here in Norman. If you're interested in a legislative internship, we can help set those up in the Oklahoma Capitol. We sometimes run undergrad research programs. We have women's leadership programs. We sponsor talks back when we used to have talks on campus. So we do all sorts of things out of the center. So if you're interested in some of these, go to our webpage and you can see some of the things that we do. I briefly worked on Capitol Hill for about 9 months as part of a fellowship program. Actually worked for Congressman Dan Lipinski, who's a political scientist himself, and he lost in his recent primary election out of Illinois. So I have a little bit of like real world political experience, but most of my experience is in the classroom or through research. My research focuses on a few different things. One's redistricting, and we'll talk a little bit about redistricting in this course. And then I also study the internal rules and procedures of the House and a tiny bit in the Senate. And I study a little bit of elections too. A little bit more about me. I lived a lot of different places. You probably think I talk funny. I don't really know what I sound like anymore, but I've lived in Connecticut, New York twice, Massachusetts, Georgia twice. I was on faculty at University of Georgia. I lived in Michigan, where I did my PhD at Michigan State University. I lived in Washington, D.C. when I worked on the Hill. Before I lived here in Oklahoma, I lived in Dallas. I lived in Texas, so I actually taught at UTD. And now here I am in Oklahoma. So this is actually the longest I've lived in one place since I was a little kid. So I've been here about 6 years. This is started my 7th. All right, who are you? So if this was a normal class, I'd ask some questions, you would raise your hands, but everything is going to be recorded here. So I'll just sort of do this in a strange way. So who are you? Most of you are probably freshmen. I think they try to put the freshmen into this course because it's required. There's going to be a handful of you seniors that somehow managed to not take this course over your 4 years or whatever here at OU. A lot from Oklahoma, but it's probably a bunch from Texas and probably from that sort of North Texas DFW area. A bunch of you are first generation college students. Some of you are veterans. Lots of you are probably working through school. I worked my way through school. In some ways, I worked during school, but it's hard to earn enough money to pay for school through working. But the point is, I know, so you folks have different backgrounds, you have different responsibilities. So just keep in mind, everyone has lots of different things going on. And then all sorts of majors. So there's actually probably only a handful out of 250 of you that are political science majors. And then the rest of you are all sorts of other majors. So I should say, I've taught this class a lot. I've taught thousands of students. And so I've seen all sorts of students come through a course like this. Okay, so how to get in touch with me? Email is far and away the best way to get in touch with me. So there's my email address. Try your best not to comment or try to get in touch with me via comments on Canvas. You'll see there's a way on some assignments, you can type in a comment. The way that filters back to me is all I get is a notification basically that someone made a comment on Canvas and I have to go in and hunt for it. So the best way to get in touch with me is email. I'm going to hold office hours just via Zoom and by appointment. And the reason I do by appointment is you all have different schedules. If I set up 1 hour or a couple hours for office hours, most of you could not make it. Also stops me from having to just sit there in front of Zoom for an hour or 2 hours waiting for someone to pop in. So I'm more than happy to meet with students via Zoom. Just send me an email and we'll find a time that works for both of us. I find my experience suggests that works much better than trying to hold very specific office hours. And so I'm always open to meeting with students if you have to get in touch with me. So there's also teaching assistants or teaching fellows. You can see them here. You will meet them on Fridays. So your discussion section will meet on Fridays, and I'll talk some more about that. Just some email do's and don'ts. If you have a question, first check on Canvas. The answer is probably there, but if it's not, send an email. So I would say try your teaching assistant first. And the reason for that is there's a lot of you. So there's 250 of you. There's one of me. Each of your TAs only has about, 50 students. So they'll probably be able to get back to you a little bit quicker. But if they can't sort of solve what you need, then just email me. Please sign your name to emails. Sometimes we get emails from people that we don't know who they're from, so sign your name. If you can, put 1113 in the subject line, that way I know what it's about. Just please don't call us dude or yo or hey. Someone's gonna make a joke and they're gonna send me an email that says dude, yo, hey or something. It's been done before. If you email during the day, so probably between 9 to 5, I'll do my best and get back pretty quickly. I try to respond to emails quickly. Outside of those hours might slow down a little bit. So, I try to respond as quickly as I can, but I can't always be on email. I do say use your OU email. If you have some Yahoo email or some other thing, it gets shuffled to my junk folder and also harder to figure out who you are. So just use your OU email. I think it's the best way to communicate. Big picture. This class is divided into 4 units. Each unit has different topics. So unit is the big overview. There's 4 of those. And then within each unit, there's different topics. Some topics for this class are what we would call, self-paced, with lectures by me, usually, occasionally there's someone else doing a lecture. And then there's other material. And we'll get into some of this. I'm just giving the big picture here. Other topics within the unit are led by teaching assistants in your face-to-face discussion sections. These meet on Friday, and the first one meets on August 28th. So that would be the sort of first week of classes. So sometimes we'll cover the same topic, but in different ways in the self-paced part of the class and the discussion section part of the class, but they'll always fall within the same unit if it's the same topic. After each unit, there's an exam. So there's 4 online exams, and we're going to drop the lowest grade. And these are the exam dates: September 22nd, October 20th, November 17th, December 15th. And these show up on Canvas. If you look under the assignments tab, you'll see that. They'll show up in a couple different places. So 4 online exams. They're non-cumulative and they follow the unit. So the end of each unit, there's a test. And then you can drop your lowest. And each test is worth 25%. Exams cover both the self-pace and the discussion section topics for each unit. So everything is sort of contained, the idea is contained within the unit, non-cumulative. So our plan for the semester, and so I should say the way I'm teaching this course is different in 2 ways. One, it's online. This is my first time teaching an online course, so we'll see how this goes. I guess sort of last spring was partially online, but I'm not counting that one. So that's one way this is different. The other way is I'm revamping the course to cover a lot of topics that I normally wouldn't cover in an introductory class. As I said, I've taught this class a lot to thousands of students. I don't know what year, I'm well past a decade as a faculty member and taught this course almost every year, sometimes multiple times. So you gotta kind of get a handle on these are the things I want to teach, these are the things I don't want to teach. When I figured out there's a lot of things actually I think you all should know that aren't typically covered in an introductory political science course or introductory American government course. So what I decided is I'm going to put those things into a class, and what ends up happening is I probably pull some things out that would traditionally be covered. So normal course, you take a textbook and you kind of work your way through the chapters. Usually you do civil rights, civil liberties, a couple other things. Then you get to maybe elections, and then you get to the institutions, and we'll cover some of those, but perhaps not in the normal way. Some will be pretty normal, and some topics will just be like, why is this in here? And the reason is, I think it's important for you to know it's not traditionally covered in an American government class. So we'll focus on some core items, but pay more attention to how you interact with the government on topics traditionally not covered in an intro class, and I'll get into some of those. Focus on policy that set up some long and short-term consequences in our country. Some of this will be tax policy, some of these will be some other laws that sort of influence how you live your life. And then we'll try to cover some topics that are important right now so you can understand the world around you. So as I said, there's going to be some topics that we miss that you're like, wow, we didn't cover that. Why did he skip that? And part of the reason is we can only cover so much. You can't cover everything. And, I just want to hit on some things that I think are useful for you to know that isn't normally covered in a class. So we're going to miss some things. Okay, so some topics we'll cover. We're going to spend the beginning of the class, for the most part, talking about government and the economy, or you could think about government and your money, might be a way to think about that. So we'll look at budgets, taxes, income inequality, mortgages and redlining. And these are topics that are usually not covered, at least in depth, in an intro course. I started talking about taxes maybe the last time I taught the course, when I realized I wanted to talk about sort of like what was going on with tax policy. And I realized most students really don't have any idea how taxes, especially income taxes, work. Some do. Some file their own taxes, and but most don't. So I figured I had to take a step back and cover the basics. So in the next couple lectures, we're going to go over, or maybe 2 lectures from now, we'll go over how to file your own income taxes. So I think the way lots of us interact with the government is through money. Money is real, it's tangible, we understand it. So covering some of these topics might help you understand how the government and politics work a little bit better. We'll cover institutions, and this is normal. Congress, presidency, courts, or the judiciary. I think I list that as the judiciary elsewhere. Political parties. Institutions are sort of the things that make up government. There's rules, there's procedures, and it is important to know those. We'll cover these some of these a little more lightly than maybe in a traditional class, although we will get into the weeds in some of these things. It's hard for me to not get into the weeds for Congress because that's what I study. Some other topics, conspiracy theories. Never covered this in an introductory class before, but they are out there, and it's probably important to talk about them. There's conspiracy theories about COVID, about who is eligible to be president. There's one going around that Biden's vice presidential pick, it can't be president because her parents weren't citizens. That's not true. Anyways, we'll talk about some conspiracy theories, talk about the founding, that's pretty traditional. Polling, we're going to, over the fall, you'll hear a lot about polling, not necessarily in this course, but since there's a presidential election, you'll hear a lot about it. So it's important to know how polls work. Political parties, I listed here twice. Healthcare, again, not a traditional topic, but a lot of elections have sort of centered around healthcare and government healthcare policy. I think it's important to know something about that. Theoretical ways to think about politics. So maybe how do political scientists think about politics might be a little bit different than how other people think. And there's just going to be some other topics. Okay, so there's obviously a presidential election happening. Try to talk about it in some ways, but I'm recording the lectures. It's like the middle of August now. You're going to watch this probably in a couple weeks. Everything's going to be recorded a little bit before when you're watching it. So I'll talk about some things, but it's hard to be timely when I record these lectures early. That's just sort of a function of how things happen. Okay, how will we cover topics? So there's a textbook. It's free. It's online, and I'll show a little bit more about that. But it's free. There's other readings, and so sometimes this might be a link to something online. There'll be a couple of readings where I've scanned some chapters. I asked you to subscribe to the New York Times, which is free through the library. And if you look on the Canvas page, there's a link on how to subscribe to that. Because there's some stories I think we'll read over the semester that are maybe a little older from the Times, maybe some that are a little current. So having a subscription is useful. It's also just good to know that you can subscribe to this paper for free. So just to keep up with the news, keep up with the election. There's going to be a mix of lectures over PowerPoint slides. So I'm going to be a little box in the corner here. That's about all you need to see in my face. I would say if you want to download the slides without the lectures, download the slides and watch them in slideshow mode. If you watch them sort of within Canvas, they're not going to work right because I might have a box point up or pop up and then disappear, or a picture appear and then disappear. And if you watch them on Canvas, directly on Canvas, in the little box that pops up on Canvas, you're going to miss some of the animations. And so download them and just watch them in slideshow mode. And you can get all Microsoft products for free from the campus. So the lectures over the PowerPoint, you can watch those however you want, either within Canvas or you can download them. They're actually going to be hosted on YouTube, so you could probably watch them there too. There's going to be some explainer videos. Some of this I think is very succinctly described in a maybe 2 or 3 minute video. And most of these I just kind of found them on YouTube. And I'll be honest, we all learn a lot of things from YouTube. I want to figure something out. How do I fix something around the house? I just go to YouTube, right? We think people know all these things. I've definitely caught plumbers on YouTube trying to figure something out in my house. So a lot of us learn from YouTube. There's no reason why we can't do that in class. I filmed 4 or 5 what I call Ask the Expert interviews, where I interviewed another political scientist who's an expert on the particular topic to get their take on a particular area. So conspiracy theories. There's a political scientist. She's an expert on this. She actually contributed to the Last Week Tonight with John Oliver. Some of you might have watched that. We'll watch it. I assigned it for that unit class. So we might as well get some takes from experts. And I should say this is a good way, I think, to set up maybe some exam questions too, because I'll give you the questions and then you can listen to the answer. And that will make a good short answer question on a test. And then we also have face-to-face discussion sections. And so the discussion sections, face-to-face, they're Fridays with the teaching assistant. I would say what we're not going to do, I hope, is lots of online classes have this post 3 comments on a discussion board. I don't really get how that's class, but I don't know. Lots of faculty assign that. I shouldn't talk bad about other faculty, but we will not do that in this course. I should say, the plan is for face-to-face discussion sections. If we all move online, I think we will keep the same time. So whenever your discussion section meets, you'll just do that and you'll do things via Zoom and we'll do the best that we can. But we're planning, if we have to go online, fully online, then we'll do that. But your discussion sections will meet at the same time if we all have to go online. Okay, so your textbook, you can find it here on the link. If you go to Canvas, you can see this link too. So I should say for this course, one of the changes I've made is changing the textbook. I used to use a book called Logic of American Politics. It was fine. It was a good book. Had what I needed in there. But it was like $120, $130. It's kind of expensive. So working with the library, they actually have an incentive for us to use open source textbooks. I picked this new one, American Government. You can click on the link if you want to see it. It's pretty good. All books are missing some things. No book is perfect. And so I decided we'll go with this book. It has what I need and saves you $130, $140. So it'll work. You can order a print copy if you want to, but you have to pay for that. So if you go to this link, there'll be an option order a print copy. I think you can do it through Amazon. Maybe it's like $40. I don't know. But if you don't want to, if you want to just read it online, you can also download a copy for free too. So we'll use some chapters, but not all. Sometimes a topic won't have a chapter. Some of the topics will be covered in discussion section, and they'll have a chapter. But since it's free, I don't really feel like I need to use all of the book. We might, not use a bunch of the chapters, and that's fine. If I make you pay $140 for a textbook, I feel bad if I don't use 3/4 of it. So we won't use all of them. Some topics, especially at the beginning of the course, won't have a corresponding textbook chapter. So I'll assign what you need to read or watch. Here's just an example of the book. So if you're to click on that link and click around a little bit, you get to this. And so you just sort of click through, and you all are smart. You can figure out how to read this online textbook. I should say, if you sort of sign in to OpenStax, which is the sort of general host for these textbooks, you can, if you sign into an account, which is free, you can highlight chapters and it'll save it. So you can do maybe how you traditionally might read a textbook. Okay, so again, everything you need to know about this course on Canvas, start at the home page. And so here is a copy of the home page. So if you click on the home link, it gets you to this page. I don't know how much experience you all have with Canvas. Some have plenty, and you're like, why is he telling us this? We can figure it out. Some have none, so I'm gonna assume most of you have none, and I'm just gonna go over some things that are probably very simple, but I'm gonna do it anyways. So homepage gets you here. From the homepage, we have a link to the syllabus, and this syllabus link gets you to a traditional syllabus, has all the policies, due dates, all sorts of information. So what you think of a traditional syllabus is there. This link over here that says syllabus, that is something Canvas decides is the syllabus, and it's really just a list of due dates. I can't control that menu. I know you're like, why does this say syllabus and that say syllabus? I don't know. I don't decide what goes on over there. Anyways, if you click on that, it's useful. It gives you a list of due dates for things, but doesn't have all the policies. If you want all the course policies, you got to click on syllabus. I don't know why I point to my screen because you can't see what I'm pointing at. Just click on that syllabus next to course information. If you click on the schedule here, if you're thinking about like, what are we doing this week? What's the topic? Click on that, and it gives a very broad overview of the schedule. So if we were to scroll down the homepage, you would see some information. These slides we're watching right now will be here. I talked about some of this 4 units with topics. There's your book. There's some like generic tips for online classes that the university provides, and I don't know, I just left a link to them. They could be useful. It says here how to subscribe to the New York Times, which is free again. We keep scrolling down the page. Here's me. These are your teaching assistants. So each of you is signed up for a discussion section. Each of your teaching assistants will have a page on Canvas where you can find all the information you need for section. It'll take a little bit for the TAs to populate those pages. So if you were to click on this now, actually it depends on when you're watching, it'll vary what's on there. But everything for section will be on the section page. At least that's where it would start. Everything for the rest of the class is in different places over Canvas. Figure out who your TA is. Sometimes we get halfway through the semester and people are like, I don't know who my TA is. You can figure it out. They're the ones who do the grading. Keep scrolling down, you would see a list of the units and then the topics. And this is for the first part is for the self-paced topics. And so we see the unit 1 starts from first day of class. It goes through September 22nd. We cover 5 topics: why government, government and budgets, taxes, income inequality, and conspiracy theories. And at the end of the unit, September 22nd, we have an exam. Now remember, there's corresponding discussion section topics too that take place during this unit, and topics will also be on the exam. So just a little bit on how the Canvas page is laid out. So if you were to click on the why government link here, it takes you to a page. And a page lists the things you need to know for that particular topic. So it'll tell you the readings. In this case, there's a video we should watch. It's a short video. You can click on this link and you can get to the lectures over the PowerPoint slides or something like this. If you just want the PowerPoint slides, you can click there. Again, your best bet is to download the slides and view them in slideshow mode rather than trying to watch them within Canvas. Then, since some people like modules, I put the same content here in a module. So if you click on that module, it will take you to the modules, which look like this. And then it's just sort of the different things you need. So same content is back on this page and in this module. If we go back to the home page and scroll down to the bottom, these are the section topics with fixed, it says dates behind the screen there. And so Unit 1, same beginning and ending dates as Unit 1 above. There'll be the first discussion section, sort of an introduction. Then September 4th, there's cover civic engagement. September 11th, civil liberties. And then the last one in each of the units is always test prep to get you ready for the test. And then the test is on the last day of the unit. And we have 4 units. And so there won't be any links here because things might be just a little bit different for each of your teaching assistants. Just maybe the way they lay things out or something like that. So you want to go to your teaching assistants page for all the materials for discussion section. This is, if you were to click on that syllabus link that I talked about earlier, it just lists the dates for things. And more things might get populated throughout the semester, but the most important dates are the 4 exams, and then there's a paper that's due at the end of the semester too. Okay, so some traditional syllabus things, you would get to that here, right there to go traditional syllabus. So assignments, and I've said this a few times already, 4 online non-cumulative exams, each worth 25% of your grade, which you can drop the lowest one, right? That's how you get 75%. Exams will last about an hour, and I'll give you like a window that's a little longer than an hour to start and finish the exam, but you only have 1 hour to take the test, right? I realize you might have some other things going on, so I want to give you a window that's larger than an hour for you to take the test, but you only get an hour. Once you start the test, you get an hour to finish. The exams are a mix of multiple choice and short answer. Again, drop the lowest exam, and these are the dates: September 22nd, October 20th, November 17th, and December 15th. So you want to know, December 15th is finals week. They told us if we're going to give a final exam or a last test during finals week, to pick the date and time that corresponds to when we would normally give a final if this course was face-to-face. So I didn't really pick this day. This is the day they told me to use. So tests are the bulk of what's going on here. Discussion section is 15%, and that's going to be a mix of attendance and participation. If you have to self-isolate or we all go online, there'll be alternative assignments that we'll work through. And then there's this policy problem paper, that's 10%. It's about a 5-page paper that's due on December 10th, which is the last day of class. And there'll be some more details about that, but that's the other 10% of your grade. So hopefully I did my math right, and this adds up to 100%. Grades, okay. So A, you get an A if you get between an 89.3 and 100. B, 79.3 to 89.29. C, D, F. You can read the numbers here. Okay, so this is a generous rounding policy, right? So some faculty do not round at all. They say you have to get a 90 to get an A. That's a little strict. Some faculty round at 0.5, the traditional sort of round up point. Excuse me. What I've done is I picked a generous rounding policy at 0.3. So what this means is, like, any sort of curve is already built into the grading scheme. If you're sort of on the cusp there, this grading scheme, this rounding policy boosts you up. So Don't ask me to round up. I already did. I'm going to get someone who got 89.29 or whatever, and they'll be like, oh, it's not fair. I should get an A. Like, no, I've already built in the like not fairness by rounding up from 0.3. So don't ask me to round up because I already did. If I made a mistake, let me know. But the computer sort of does all the math. Late assignments, if an assignment is late, as soon as it's late, which is when the window closes, it's going to be docked 1 letter grade. And then each day it's late, it's docked another letter grade. It's pretty standard. Okay, other policies. If you got to post stuff online, like make sure it worked. And not by emailing me and say, did it work? You should be able to check to see if it's posted correctly on Canvas. Academic integrity, don't cheat. Cheating is just don't do it. It's not worth it. There's like nothing that happens in this course that's worth cheating. My general policy towards people who cheat is to pursue the highest punishment possible. Could be expulsion, could be failing the course. So there's nothing that happens in this course that's worth cheating for. Because if you get caught, the penalty will be large. So just don't cheat. It's not worth it. You're better off like taking the 0. And actually, the only way to get a 0 is not to turn in anything or do something. You turn in like a lousy paper, you'll still get some grade. It's rarely worth cheating. And you can follow that link here to the academic integrity website to learn more. Special accommodations, if you need extra time or something, you gotta let me know. And you do it via the Disability Resource Center. So there has to be sort of these official accommodations here through the DRC. And if you fall under these accommodations, you would know. And you know to work with the DRC, and they work with me too. I don't know, excuse for holidays. You can read these. I don't need to read all these. These are standard university policies. Title IX resources. If you want to talk to me about things like sexual misconduct, I have to report it. You can't talk to me in confidence. I have to report. If a student comes to me about these things, I'm required to report that. So you should know that before you want to talk to me. That doesn't say don't talk to me. But if you want to talk to me, and if one of these issues is going on with you, I'll do my best to help, but I can't keep it in confidence. I'm required to report it to the Title IX office. Incompletes, we try not to give incompletes. You read this, you see you actually should be passing the class if you get an incomplete, not failing. So try not to get it incomplete. And there's really no reason in this course to take an incomplete. Well, we're in the middle of a global pandemic. Maybe there will be. This is sort of standard language for final exam period. I've told you about the paper due on the last day of class now, so that's safe. Mask policy. Obviously, we're not going to be wearing masks online lectures, but in your face-to-face discussion sections, you're required to wear masks unless you have an exemption, and there has to be an official exemption through the university. So the big point is, unless you have an official exemption, if you're unable or unwilling to wear a mask, you may be instructed to exit the classroom. So perhaps the TA will tell you to stand in the back, but they are within the rights to tell you to leave the classroom. Just wear a mask. It's not that hard. You'll be fine. Okay, so sort of wrap up the typical syllabus day lecture. Pace yourself. So do a little bit of the course each day. Don't save the self-paced content until the day before the test. There's gonna be too much of it. There's no way you'll be able to watch all the videos, do all the readings, and do everything the day before the test. Just do a little bit each day. Just set a time each day, or I'm gonna do 11:13 content. Maybe you're gonna love it, and it'll be the highlight of your day. I don't know. But do a little bit each day. Okay, so some of the videos, some of the lectures are going to be the length of a typical lecture. They tell us, record your videos in 6-minute increments. That's crazy. Lectures are flowing. They're not self-contained in these 6-minute increments. So you're like, wow, this lecture's long. It's boring. Just hit pause. I won't know. It'll be fine. Take a break. But for the lectures, I'm going to record them in longer chunks. You know where the pause button is. Just go ahead and do it. finally, stay safe, think about others, wear a mask. We would like to all stay healthy here. So that's it. So get in touch if you have questions, talk to your TA. Section starts on, I think I said August 28th for your face-to-face content, and everything you need to know is on Canvas. All right, thanks.